Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to use the new Luvele Breeze dehydrator to make ourselves some kale chips with 3 different seasonings. Before we get started, if you haven't already, take the time now to hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our weekly recipe videos here on our YouTube channel. Making these kale chips is really easy, and it's also such a simple way to eat your greens. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of kale you use. Today we've got a bunch of Tuscan kale and a bunch of red kale. We'll mix those up, split them into 3, and we're going to season them 3 ways. To prepare our kale, all we need to do is cut the hard stalks off of the end, cut them into chunks and give them a really good wash. We're then just going to pat them dry to remove any moisture. If you have a salad spinner at home, then that's going to be your best friend here. Now we can mix up our 3 flavor combinations. The first one is simple, just salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil. Straight into a mixing bowl, put 1 to 2 teaspoons of sea salt and about the same of pepper. You can also add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Add your kale to the bowl and give it a really good mix to coat through. Now onto our second flavor, it's a Moroccan spiced seasoning. Into another mixing bowl, add 1 teaspoon of sea salt, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of ground chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cumin powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano. Again, go in with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Give it a stir just to make sure it's all mixed through evenly. Add your kale to the bowl and mix it really well to coat. Now onto our third seasoning. This one is an Asian inspired mix. Into our mixing bowl, we'll add half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice. We're going to also add 1 tablespoon of olive oil and also 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. Add your kale to the bowl and give it a really good mix to coat through. Now you can load your kale chips onto the trays, making sure there's enough space in between for the air to flow through. For the Asian flavored kale chips, we're going to sprinkle over a tablespoon of lightly toasted sesame seeds once they're on their trays. Once your trays are full, you can stack them back up, put the lid back on the machine, and your settings for today are 50 degrees for 8 hours. Our kale chips have now been dehydrating for 8 hours, and it's time to have a look and see how they've gone. I'm really happy with how these have turned out. They're incredibly crispy, they taste awesome, and all of those flavors have actually intensified under dehydration. And because we've dehydrated at such a low temperature, we know that it's still full of good nutrients. These will last about a week in an airtight container, but I don't think they're gonna last that long. This is probably the easiest way to eat kale, and if you haven't tried kale chips before but you like seaweed, then this recipe is a must try. Give it a go at home and let us know how you go in the comments below. As always, don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already for more Luvele Life recipes to come. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week.